Alright, so today we're going to talk about Hans Trapp, who is a Alsace-Lorraine, I guess you could say character or folk character. And we're also going to talk about Pere Fouettard, who is like, I wouldn't even say he's a foil. They're very similar. So who is Hans Trapp? So Hans Trapp is based off a knight called Hans von Trotta. And Hans von Trotta belonged to an aristocratic family from the region of Solocres. I think I pronounced that right. The story begins at Berwenstein Castle in the Palatinate, which is in, I believe it's in Germany. But this castle was given to Hans von Trotta in 1480 by the elector of the Palatinate. So this is where his villain story begins, and this is where he begins to be related to or becomes Hans von Trapp. So the former owner of the site, which was the abbot of Weissenburg, protested that things had been done wrong in Hans von Trapp acquiring the castle. So he would even go, so the abbot would even go so far as to denounce the existence of the irregularities in the acquisition or the acquiring of Berwenstein Castle. So since this was an abbot, an abbey has to deal with religion and religion, monks would become involved. So the monks in the area would join in, and once they learned that the castle was given to a foreigner, that they would appeal to the elector in Heidelberg. And actually the elector did not was not on their side. So they didn't rule in their favor, and because of this, von Trotta would retaliate. So this is some Prince John v. Robin Hood-ish. Von Trotta would build a dam in the Weislauter, also known as the Lauter, so it's a river. And this river supplied the city of Weissenburg with water, obviously. I don't know why I put with water in there, but with water. And this caused the water's course upstream to divert from the town. So this is going to make it difficult for them to wash, to clean themselves, even though probably during this time personal hygiene wasn't top of mind. This would also affect their drinking water. So there was a huge problem, and cooking as well, because you need you need boiled water in order to cook a lot of things. So this causes the water's course upstream to be diverted, and this affects, the city of Weissenburg. And the monks, who were furious with this, protested that the water be returned to the town, but von Trotta would break the dam, causing Weissenburg to flood. So he was like, yeah, I give you your water back, and he just kicked. I don't know that he kicked he didn't kick it like that. That would be crazy and impossible. But he does give them their water back in a very disturbing way. So because of this infraction, to put it mildly, Hans von Trotta was excommunicated from the church and banished from society. So he would actually die in 1503, and after his death, I think well after his death, actually, they allowed him back in the church. So following his death, von Trotta would be turned into an evil character. So this is where we get into him really becoming Hans Trapp. And he'll be described as a bloodthirsty debaucherous. So he was about that life. He was about that life. We'll leave it at that. Power hungry and violent person or character. His sole purpose would be to terrorize the people in the area by robbing them. He was even said to have made a pact with the devil. So they just made this man completely evil. And he wasn't just power hungry, he was people hungry. It was said to also consume human flesh. Now, the specific human flesh that he had a taste for were young shepherds. And so along with these qualities, the name would change to Hans Trapp. And Trapp came from the word trappen, which means turning the page. God, we got new paper and it's so hard to turn the page. Which means to make noise. So he, like, if you heard him coming, he's kind of giving rolling calf legends. And if you want to know what the rolling calf is, check out my haunted Jamaica video. You'll like it. It's like one of my first videos, but the information's great. So because of his deeds in life, he is said to wander the forest around Berwenstein Castle, and he also hangs around the Vosges Mountains in France. Yeah, I'm sorry. Someone's entertaining the neighborhood. If you Hans Trapp is 6'5" tall. He dresses in a large, long black coat and wears big black boots. So you can hear him coming, so hence the name Hans Trapp. Sometimes he appears on horseback and he speaks only in German. He also sports a long white beard and a pointed hat, and he holds a rod in his hand to beat naughty children with. So he comes around to beat the brakes off of specifically bad kids. Although I don't know, I wouldn't put it past him beating good kids as well. So while we are talking about Hans Trapp, let's talk about Pere Fouettard. So this name translates to father whipper or old man whipper. Like, he's also known as old man whipper. So during St. Nicholas Day, Pere Fouettard accompanies St. Nicholas on his rounds. He gives lumps of coal to children, while St. Nick, of course, gives gifts to the well-behaved. So there are two stories associated with how Pere Fouettard becomes Pere Fouettard, and one is the Three Little Gleaners and the effigy of Charles Van Metz. So the first story comes from 1252, and in this story, an innkeeper, who is also depicted as a butcher in other versions, captures three boys who appear to be wealthy, and while they're on their way to a religious school. Boarding school. So the innkeeper and his wife kill the children in order to rob them. Not only that, it's like trigger warning, it's some real like Criminal Minds ish. So not only do they rob them, they drug the children, then slit their throats, cut them into pieces, and stewed them in a barrel. And that's especially like prevalent in the butcher story, in the butcher version, because he's a butcher. St. Nicholas discovers the crime and resurrects the children. Following this, Pere Fouettard, who is the innkeeper / butcher, if you just kind of missed that, repents and becomes St. Nicholas's partner. Other versions state that Pere Fouettard is forced into becoming his partner after he is forced to confess by Saint Nick. So that's where the repentance comes from. The other iteration of this story is that he came from the siege of Metz, which occurred in 1552 by Charles V. So there's a whole lot of like political like battle stuff that we're not going to get into, but basically the people of the region associated Charles V with Pere Fouettard, and they went so far as to create a grotesque effigy done by the Tanners Association. And when I read the article about it, they said like it was something about a butt, like a butt, but I don't know, I could not find pictures. If I do find one while editing, I'll put it in for y'all to see. But this character, of course, would punish kids by whipping them, which is very much in line with the original Pere Fouettard legend. Now, Pere Fouettard wears dark robes with scraggly, unkempt hair, and he has a long beard. Like, when I looked at pictures of him, he's kind of giving evil Hagrid. Like, if Hagrid had really opened the Chamber of Secrets, like he was alleged to have opened 50 years ago, before the Chamber of Secrets story started. I was reading the Chamber of Secrets. Fouettard is armed with a whip, a large stick, or a bundle of switches. And if you're not from the States or a culture where they call a piece of branch a switch is basically a word or colloquialism for a thin piece of wood that someone, usually an elder, would whip you with. So that's what they mean by switch. Now, sometimes he is depicted wearing a kind of wicker backpack, and it's child-sized. So he takes the naughty children and puts them in his bag and carries them off to God knows where. Or he wears a large bundle of sticks on his back. I'm guessing for maximum whip action. I don't know. But that is the story of Pere Fouettard and Hans Trapp. So if you like this video, please like and subscribe. And I will be coming out with some more. So I've split my 25 Days of Terror between my TikTok and this, so my YouTube. So if you want to read some TikToks or see some TikToks, you can check me out there, and I'll leave, my name and everything at the end of the video, at the very end of the video. So I will see you all on the next Painted Hank Christmas special. We are almost there. So I'm excited. I think on the next episode, I have La Befana scheduled, but I'll have to check and make sure. Anyways, Merry Christmas, and you all have a wonderful evening. Bye.